I'm John Skinner, and this supports my book, Fishing for Summer Flounder, Fluke Jigging from Shore, Boat, and Kayak, and you can learn more about the book at flounderbook.com. I'll be using 4 and 6 ounce Spro bucktails. A foot above that is a Tsunami hollow teaser with a 5/0 Gamakatsu bait holder hook. I'll be tipping both of those with Berkley Gulp Nemesis grubs as well as bait strips. So here's an underwater look at the grounds that we're fishing. Boy, it's just loaded with sea bass, porgies. We're not trying to catch those, we're trying to catch the fluke. Hence the use of the bait strips. They're a little bit tougher than the gulps. I'm using some fluke strips, going to use some bluefish strips. We're going to see how that's not going to work well. Also otter tails being used to try to cut down on these interference fish. And the point is that if you put something like squid down there, that's going to get torn up. Normally I wouldn't fish with squid anyway. I'll be using gulps. The gulp nemesis are great, but those sea bass will tear those tails off. The 6-inch gulp grubs hold up pretty well, but again, you see what's down there. So the fin strips, when you fillet a fluke, they are tough. They hold up well. So that's one of the reasons we're using, I'm tipping my bucktails with those. And also I'll use the otter tails at some point, and anything to try to keep a decent looking bait down there so the fluke can get to it before everything gets torn up by the other fish. One of the things we had to deal with on this trip is current. Even when the wind wasn't blowing, it was hard to stay down with anything less than 4 ounces. In fact, a good part of this trip I'm fishing 6-ounce bucktails, and that has caused me to go up to a heavier rod. If you watch my videos, you'll see I like the Tsunami Classic rods. I'm now on this trip using the XH model, and that's rated 15 to 30 pound test line. But I got to tell you, that rod does not have much of a bend to it when you've got a fish on. It's stiff. So really I'm using that because if you've got a 6-ounce bucktail, it's hard to bounce that jig without really being able to put some oomph into it and have a tip that's not going to absorb all of that jigging motion. That's what this rod, this Tsunami Classic XH 7-footer gives me. So I've got to tuck that thing under my arm. I can't jig that with my wrist. I tuck it under my arm, bounce it with that one arm, and that puts nice action on the jig. It's just when I've got a fish on there, I've really got to keep a bend in the rod. I'm not using the Quantum Accurus this trip. I've got a Maxell Hybrid 20 on there, spooled with 15-pound test braid. You see we've got a big drift control sock out there. That's 84-inch, and this is a 25-foot center console, and the drift sock does a good job. It definitely knocks the speed down, and this is allowing us to I'm complaining about having to use 6-ounce bucktails, but I can tell you if we didn't have that drift sock out, even a 6-ounce would not be staying down. So this is keeping us in a reasonable drift speed range. I think we're up roughly 1.2, 1.4 miles an hour, somewhere in there. But over this depth, it's definitely requiring some weight to stay down. Whatever you want, yeah.
Oh, I mean, this is fine? Would you be against this?
Not at all. No, I got.
Or do you want me to use a Spro?
I have tons of those. I have tons of those. Oh.
All right, don't talk anymore.
This is a fluke, and it's my best fluke of the day, which is not a very high bar, but this is a nice one. Yeah.
All right.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. All right.
Oh boy.
Good. I'll be there in a second, right?
Wow.
How far are you?
That was nice.
Way down.
Catch one. That was nice of them.
Small net, okay?
No.
No?
No. Sorry. We're not taking a chance with this one.
When you were going to tell him to stop pushing you off the spot.
I mean, he shook like crazy. Now he's just dead weight. Nothing bends this rod either, so.
Yep.
You know what? You got time. Why don't you get this other net out of the way in case I need to move?
Yep.
Because this, unless he's foul hooked. Because
sense in risking, right?
I had all the shakes.
Do you mind to come up behind
I bet it's gonna, because he hasn't shook since he started coming up. But
good. You start to see the light up here.
Trying to keep a bend in this stiff rod. Yeah.
All my bites are on a black bar or a ballyhoo or a black bar.
Should be right here. I don't see him.
He's going.
Starting to see.
Yes, serious fish.
Bring him in.
Serious fish.
That's a good one.
Okay.
All right. Nice catch, man. Nice catch.
That's what we're out here
Getting
for.
bigger.
That's why we stay out in the rain.
That's it. Getting bigger.
Yeah, I have no clue on this rod, you know, so. Oh, and he grabbed that 6 ounce.
Yeah.
So many times I've had people tell me, oh, the Fluke won't hit those heavy bucktails. You know, they will, but you have to keep some good jigging action on them, and hence that was, you know, my whole description of using that stiffer rod to do that. Get good bounce on the jig, they're going to hit that jig just as well as they hit the lighter ones. And here's a better look at that one, and that went 8.75 pounds. Okay, the current eased up a little bit, so I was able to go back to down to 4 ounces, which meant I could use a lighter tsunami rod. This one rated 15 to 25 pound test line. It's got the Quantum Accurist on there and the Jigging World power handle, which is a very nice addition to that reel. So unfortunately, this rod is discontinued. One that's very close to it is the Tsunami Classic H. It's rated 12 to 25 pound test line. And one thing, I've got 2 of those rods, and you've seen maybe on previous videos, I cut 4 inches off the tip of one of those, and that pretty much ends up being a rod almost exactly like this one.
We had one about 120 pounds or so. We come on.
Alright, see him. Bring him in.
Stay sharp.
Beautiful. Nice catch.
These guys want some meat.
Alrighty, I got one.
I'm gonna leave. Nice catch, man. Okay, I'm gonna drop
On this, that's 4
on
ounce.
the Fluke.
Yeah.
I'm throwing another one, so we're one up all the time.
Yep. All right, both this fish and that other real nice one hit the bucktail, and that had Fluke fin strip on there instead of a gulp. And for most people, that Fluke fin strip is usually waste when you fillet a Fluke, so this is good use of it.
Okay, you gulped? Yeah, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I
So-
didn't see it.
I open these cookies. There's some mold on the outside of the bag, but the cookies are fine. So, yeah, they are.
Oh, I'm gonna have one.
Yeah, no, they are. I'm eating them.
That's great. Doc would have a fit. I'm good.
Yeah, that's why I figured nobody else was, if you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, they're purple.
Mm-hmm.
Any great reasons?
Oh yeah, I like the looks of that. Come on. Yeah, now it's. Huh? I heard that.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I'm coming up.
It's a sea bass.
No, it is
You
not.
think that's a big fluke
That's
like
a-
that? That's a head shake?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then you know
Yeah,
what?
that's a fluke.
Okay, you never mind. It's a fluke now. Now I got it.
You got one. You got him. You got him. He's on. He's on.
Yep.
That's now it's done.
It's so funny because he's swimming up with
Well,
me.
I know,
You know?
it's more than 8.5 pounds. I know it.
No.
Because
He's coming right. He's up already. He can't be.
I already got the. Yeah, I guess I don't need the big net. It's a nice fish.
It
But-
is a nice fish.
But what are we gonna do?
I'll swing him in, but we'll,
No.
you know, we'll get rid of one.
Oh no, you're not swinging him. He's actually
right, we'll
better
get it
looking.
in.
Yeah, sorry.
What are we gonna do? You put the net down.
I didn't. You know what? I didn't get a good look at him. Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
I had no.
And you walked away.
Yeah, so it was funny. This funny angle on him, and that's not what I saw. You know. Yeah. All right. Good.
So funny. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
I
See you
just looked
later.
for you like,
See you later. Yeah.
Hang on, I got a bucktail button. By the way, that was on the teaser,
Yay.
not the
Good.
on the gold teaser.
Yeah. So with the Fluke strips working well, you can see I got a couple sitting there on the bait board. I got a small bluefish, so I figured, hey, you know, this is great bait. I mean, bluefish strips are excellent Fluke bait, and so I grabbed a fillet knife and fillet this guy up and get it into some strips, and you can see how that's done. I can tell you that on these grounds, you're going to see that this was a mistake. I won't be doing this out here anytime soon. But there you go, easy enough. This was like, geez, a perfect size to cut into strips for bait. So it seemed like a good thing to do. Yeah. So you did. I'm surprised how well he did on the weak fish that late. So that's good. You know,
Yes.
I bet if you were there early, you would have pounded him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the couple times I've gone, I've noticed, you know, certainly the early bite is the best.
Yeah, we were saying.
Ooh,
that
that's a
we
good
just
hit.
Enjoyed, you know, huge pay for a boat ride. Yeah, huh?
Yeah, sea bass, sea bass.
Yeah, there must be 2 of them now. Ooh,
That's a fluke.
I got a fluke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing big though. Okay. It's good to see.
No, I have a dogfish shark. You know
We
what?
had to talk about them.
I'm
We just talked
Yeah.
about it, right?
well, and now I'm moving up on the species thing too, because
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
I got bluefish, I got dogfish shark. What do you got? Porgy?
You're right.
I can get porgy. I've got the exotics. Although you do have a ling, so.
How many years has that taken?
Ooh, oh, should we be netting?
No. No, he's about the same as what we called out.
He's a yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. Oh,
I'm gonna dead stick one. Well, do you need the big net or little net?
little one's fine.
Okay.
But
By the way,
it's-
I was getting hit, so I'm gonna dead stick one while we're doing this. Good. Maybe the bite's coming back.
This is definitely an okay one. Yeah. Why? He's still good, but
Yeah.
I'll let
yeah.
him. Yeah. You know, no complaints.
Yep.
All right, he gets to go. I'm letting him go. So you gotta go get your dead stick fish.
Oh. I
Yeah.
didn't want your teaser to get.
Yeah. And this is a fish that hit the jig tip with a bluefish strip. But if you watch the next couple of minutes, you'll see that it turned out using the bluefish strip was not a good thing to do at all. Okay, I'm done narrating, and there's just a couple of minutes left, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. You know what? Since I've got a strip of bluefish on there, I bet it's fish, like a skate or...
Yep. Do you want the net?
We'll figure it out when it comes up. Look at that. That's not a... I don't know what it is. We'll find out, hopefully. It's not a fluke, though. That's not a fluke fight. But I'm glad that it is whatever I had, because the other thing did the same thing. It's too big for a sea bass, so it's too much weight. It's got to be a dogfish or a skate.
You'd be surprised,
Skate.
those- Oh, skate?
Yeah, big skate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's what I get for putting a bluefish
Need
strip
help?
on there. Nah. I don't.
Because mine,
Oh,
one of
good
them is
God.
flying just a little.
This is why you don't use bluefish for bait. I've gotten 2 skates and 2 dogfish sharks. So I tried to eliminate the sea bass and the porgies, and I traded them for just another nuisance. Intentionally changed the lines now.
Okay.
It's sad to say, but.
Yeah, it's not.
Ooh, I like that because it was like bottom, like nothing there.
Yeah, exactly.
Laszlo, pelagic beast commit.
But it's
Yeah, another
nice.
keeperish. Yeah.
It's a fish.
Yeah.
Now he's pushing. And now he's gonna do some head shakes when he starts seeing the light. Realize where he is. Oh, he's up already. Oh shit! Nice fish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna swing him in.
Oh, you?
because-
I don't know about
You know
that.
why?
You're gonna break your leader.
Oh, really?
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay. He goes back. Yeah, he goes back. Yeah.
Strong fish, by
Yeah.
the way. Look at
Yeah.
just
Look at how
muscles
thick.
curled
Yeah.
right up
Yeah.
on me. Ah, that's beautiful.
Oh.
That's a way to end the
Yeah.
day, huh?
Look at that.